Hello, guys. Oh, I see Techstar. Sergey, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering because it was showing me that somebody is using this account. Let me quickly ask.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me quickly ask in our chat, in our teacher's chat. Maybe I just close somebody else's meeting. Okay, send it.
Maybe someone just didn't log it. Maybe someone just didn't log out. So
I was using it. I believe we are not using this account often, but yeah, when I was logging in, it was showing me that somebody's using it. It's okay. We'll see. Oh, but I just did. I don't see my. Okay, hello, everyone. We have a lot of people. So let me see. We still have 1 minute, so let's wait for other people. Good morning. Actually, it's almost night for us. It's 7 p.m. here. But it's
good morning for everybody this morning. So
yeah, 5 a.m. morning. Oh, so you're somewhere in Ukraine or Belarus. Latvia, okay.
East Coast, Latvia.
PM, 9 p.m. Oh, 9 p.m. It's Dallas, yeah, Texas. 10 p.m. East Coast, yes, yeah, 10 p.m. 3 hours difference. Okay, okie dokie.
Hello.
Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Paduka KY. KY, what does this say? KY. KY. Kentucky? Oh, KY?
Nice.
Kentucky. Yeah. For me, Kentucky is KFC, you know. Never even thought that Kentucky is KY. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So so today we're going to start, I'm like traveling circus. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you used to live here in Sacramento area, right? And you're moving to other places. Okay, so today we're going to start with the coding basics. Why we need that? Because we're going to work on automation and we also have front-end course. And in order to prepare people for that, we have a coding basics course. And today we will start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we can cover the web development in general, but because that will be used, we actually could teach you only JavaScript as a coding language, but we need to cover HTML and CSS as well, because that will be required for automation, to look for the elements, to find them, to use selectors on the web page. So we need to cover HTML and CSS as well. And today we will start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And in JavaScript, it will be something easy. It will be variables and constants, maybe if else. And the next lesson will be functions. And those two lessons we will need to learn to get to the test automation and be able to create the framework from scratch. So that's the goal of today's lesson. And so QA is a separate topic, and we will touch QA again on Monday. And today is a separate lesson. It's a coding basics, and you will have absolutely separate homework for that. Okay, First of all, I asked Sergey to also come to this lesson and introduce himself because he's usually also conducting JavaScript lessons, automation lessons, or front-end lesson. His main course is front-end, but he's helping on other courses related with coding as well, because he's a software engineer, right? So I invited him to this lesson as well, just to say hello to everybody and maybe introduce himself. Sergey?
Hello, everybody. My name is Sergey. Yeah, I'm software developer, and I'm former QA automation engineer, but last few years I was working as developer on such companies as Microsoft, HP. I am teacher in TechStart, and yeah, as Arthur told, I give lessons mostly for front-end course, but also for QA automation and sometime on JavaScript. But yeah, mostly it is front-end and QA automation. Welcome everybody. I hope we will meet soon on QA automation course when you will pass successfully QA and JavaScript. So yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be able to be with you whole lesson today because I have my lesson, automation lesson today. So yeah, I will have to leave, but yeah, nice to see you, everybody, to hear. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. So if somebody will be taking automation course, probably you won't see him again because I probably will be taking care of automation again, but yeah. Sergey will be the one who will be teaching front-end development. Okay, awesome. And actually, what you can see, so all the free this application that we will be testing developed by Sergey, the project that we are using on the main course is also developed by Sergey, and also the platform that we are using to register students and to assign them tasks on the main course is also developed by Sergey. So actually you can see his work not only by words, but also you will be testing those applications, and the application will be testing on the main course, and the application you were working with requirements for. That application is actually built by Sergey as well. And he was the developer who was creating that according to those requirements. So actually you will see his work in real. Okay, thank you, Sergey. I know you have a lesson today, so I won't be holding you. And we will just start with the JavaScript.
I'm in mute. Okay, yeah, thank you guys. Good luck. Yeah, see you later, I hope. Yeah, bye.
Thanks, Sergey. Okay, okie dokie, let's get started. Let me share my screen, guys. And tell me if you're able to see my screen.
We can see.
Good, awesome. So today we're going to start with the coding basics. And for that, we will need to cover, as I said, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We will start with HTML. Let me probably send you the link to the tool I'm using. You don't have to use it for now because I will be explaining. But once I have something for you to do, you can start using it. Okay, so let me share the link with you. Let me send it to the chat. I will send it to the free chat and to Zoom chat as well. Okay, jsbin.com. And also, let me switch workplace, and yes, here it is. Yeah, okay, so you got the JSBin URL. Just open it, and here, the first thing that you will see is those tabs. So you can actually enable or disable tabs. For example, output is what you're going to see is the website that you're building. And it consists of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And the console, you can enable console additionally. Console is just to see some information that you're testing, right? It's not available on the website, you can see it, but the console is the place that developers work with to output some information in to see if the function works or something like that. But we're not going to use it. For now, just close JavaScript and CSS. Just open HTML and output. So your goal is just to disable all the tabs and just enable HTML and output. those two tabs only. And on the left, we will see HTML. On the right, we will see output. Okay. And please feel free to stop me if you don't understand something or you have any questions. Just feel free just to stop me, say, hey, Arthur, can you wait for a second? Or can you repeat that thing again? And I will be able to help you. So HTML. So if you imagine any website or web application, even if you're building a web application using React, and that will be web application, that won't be a website. So you are writing the JavaScript that will generate HTML. So that will be static website anyways, but it will be built on React. And initially you will be writing the code in JavaScript, but obviously in web browser, so Chrome or Opera or Safari or Firefox, it's a browser, the application to open web pages. And your website or your web application will always have three parts. It will be HTML, like this, to see my three fingers, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Always three parts. So you can imagine that as a human body, where HTML is a skeleton. So when you need to create a structure of your website, when you need to create sections, for example, you would like to have a header at the top. Let me actually open something for you. Any website, Facebook, for example, right? I will open my Facebook. So actually you can see this header, right? You see this header over here on the top, and you see these sections. You have left section, you have middle section, you have right section, and you have other subsections, right? In order to create this skeleton, like these sections, you will use JavaScript. So not JavaScript, sorry, HTML. HTML is a skeleton to create a structure. You can imagine that as a human body. So HTML is a skeleton, like all those bones. So you create a like skeleton of the body, and then you cover that body with everything else. Then CSS is used to make it beautiful, to change the appearance. You can imagine that as a skin, right? So you have skeleton, you can put skin on the skeleton, but is that enough? Is that body beautiful if you have only skeleton and then skeleton in the skin? Is that body beautiful or not? What we're missing?
Brain.
Can you repeat that?
Brain missed.
No, we don't, not brain, like you don't see brain, right? You see skeleton. So you can see, for example, my hand over here, my hand. Do you see all my muscles? Muscles, right? So we are missing muscles. So in order to have a beautiful body, you like muscles, right? You like when people have nice, beautiful muscles. When they have skeleton, obviously, because that's what our body built on. Then you have muscles that move those bones, because if you don't have muscles, obviously that will be static body. If you will have only bones, and you will see those bones because they will be in the skin only. So you will actually see bones like this, right? You will see them, but there will be no muscle. So that won't be beautiful. But in order to move, to make that body move, you have to have JavaScript. So you can imagine this as a human body, where HTML is a skeleton. So you build the structure. Then you have JavaScript to make it move, to change it. And you have CSS to make it beautiful. So this is like a human body. So let's start with HTML first. So HTML is built on tags. And there is no way just to logically explain you everything. Some things, in coding, there is always things that you need to remember. The syntaxes is, for example, what symbols we use to tell our program that this is a specific element. For example, in HTML, everything is built using tags. So these elements, you see HTML, and let me just format it a little bit. So if you open JSBin, this is what you will see by default. So this structure is what you will see by default. This is default HTML, empty HTML file. This is what you will see. Let me make it a bit beautiful. So the first level is HTML. I will do this like this to move it a little bit. So you can see that there is HTML like this. So you can see the structure of this website. So first of all, tags. So in order to tell our application that we are creating something, some tag, which is a section, you can imagine that as a section. So the main section, the whole website is HTML. And this is the syntaxes to tell the application that you're using HTML, right? And you say HTML, you open this, and then you use slash, the same tag, but with slash, to tell the system that this is where I open my HTML. This is where my section starts and where my section ends. So where you start, you just type the name of this section, and this is the main tag. It's always there. So you cannot create HTML page without this element. So there should be always HTML tag, always. And then you open it, and this is how you close it. So you tell your application that there is HTML. It should be always there. So like this. Then the second main tag that should be always there is a head. So let me remove the body. Head, we can actually remove this. We don't need this. Head. Head contains the information about your website. And the third main tag is a body. So as you can see right now, we have HTML, which is like entire file. We have head tag, which we open over here and we close over here. And inside, we will have information about this website, but no elements. So the elements you see on the websites, like Facebook, for example, all the elements you see here, they are inside body. So the body is a tag to display everything else. So this is the basic structure of the HTML file, every HTML file. When you create new HTML file, new page, you always use this as the default. You never do something else. So this is the default structure of the HTML file. And then you start adding and thinking what you need to do. So first of all, in head, the main tag that lives in head, the information about your website, it's a title. It's a name of the website, right? So what you see over here in the browser, do you see JSBean, Facebook over here, curriculum, Google Docs? Do you see these guys? See them?
Yes.
Yes.
So these are titles. In order to name your website, you create a title tag. So how to do that? Actually, as you can see, you can put your mouse cursor over here, but that won't be correct because your formatting wouldn't be correct. Why we format the code in specific way? To clearly see what is on one level and what is inside. So as you can see, my HTML starts here and ends on the same level. But in order to see that my head is inside HTML, why means inside? Because here I opened my section and here I close my section, right? HTML tag. And whatever is in between those tags is inside that tag. So I have the entire page, my entire website that has informational tag and actually what will be displayed on the website tag. As you can see, they are a little bit shifted to the right in order to show that this is something inside. But you still can put your mouse cursor over here. But if I will put a lot of tags like this, right, like this, the formatting will be incorrect. And visually, I will be not able to see what is inside each other and what is the level of that tag, right? So visually, it will be very difficult to understand the structure of my website, where the section starts, where the section ends. So we are formatting. And most of the applications that we are using for coding, this application is just a sandbox. We play here. But the applications that we are using, so-called IDEs, like WebStorm, like VS Code, they all have built-in formatters. So you click format, it will automatically format everything in order that you see. For example, let me inspect Facebook. I inspect it. As you can see, this inspector automatically formats everything and shifts everything to the right. So I can see, for example, I can close all of this. I can see, okay, HTML, and then I have head next to it inside HTML, and I have body, right? In head, I have the information. I can open it. And as you can see, the next level tags, everything that's inside head shifted to the right. So I can scroll and clearly see that these all guys on the same level, they are inside head. But I can go even deeply. As you can see, I can open even this tag and go even deeply, more deep, right? So let me close head and open body. Body will have way more complex structure. So I can open body. There will be a lot of other sections. I can open this section. It will have a lot of other things. I can open next. Oh, those are all scripts. Let me open this one. I can close this one. As you can see, there is a span, there is a div, and there is another span. I can open this div. There will be two main divs over here. I can open div is a division. Tag Goldman division. Let me just, okay. I can close this guy. So I have form, I have these guys, and I can go even deeply and deeply and deeply. Let me deeper, deeper, and deeper. Okay, so I finally found, for example, this is my header. I can go inside and find every individual icon. And all of that structure. So for example, you create main section for header. And then in order to break it down to simpler items, simpler items, you then create other elements inside, right? As you can see, they are all elements inside elements and so on. So this is how you create the structure of your website. Same here. So initially we created the main tag for the entire website and two main tags for the information about this website, and body will contain everything inside. Everything that will be inside body will be displayed over here. So first of all, I would like to name my website, and the main tag will be title. Title. I will open it and I will close it. And in between, I will put the name. For example, free course. Free course. As you can see, it's not displayed in here, but if I publish this website, it will be displayed over here. So when I open this website in my browser, the name free course will be displayed over here. So actually JSBin is just the title of the JSBin website. This curriculum.js-Google Docs is a title of that Google document. This Google document is also a website. It's like a program in your browser, but it is also a website. I can also inspect it, and it will be, as you can see, it will have a head, body, and body will have title for sure somewhere. Title, where is the title? Let me search for it. Title over here. As you can see, title over here. Title curriculum.js-Google Docs. So this is exactly what is displayed in here. So this is how it works. So if you would like to define title of your website, you put it in title tag inside head. And this is all about what we need to know about head for today, for right now. And how to create different elements on the website. You go to body, inside body, and inside body, you start adding different tags. And I will show you which tags display what. So as you can see, in order to format it properly, what you can do, because by default, as you can see, I put my mouse cursor over here and it puts everything over here. And if I start typing, right, it doesn't look like it's inside body because it shifted to the left. By default, in order for me to see that it's inside body, it should be shifted to the right? So how to do that automatically? You can remove this line, backspace, and then over here you click enter. And now, as you can see, it put your mouse cursor over here. So try that. Remove this line and then click enter over here. As you can see, you start typing in the correct place. So the JSBin also a little bit formats your document if you do that properly. And you can put your mouse cursor over here, and when you click enter, it will put it a little bit to the right, shift it to the right, showing that this element will be inside body. Actually, everything we're going to display over here will be inside body and displayed on our website. Okay, let me stop for a minute and ask you if you have any questions.
So I have a question. So we all discussing a skeletal structure, right? This is not muscles. This is just a structure in the skeleton.
Yeah, this is just a structure. We will start with the skeleton, and then we will move to CSS and JavaScript as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But for now, yeah, just a structure. I would like to introduce HTML to you as well, because in order to find the elements, for example, we test Facebook, we will have to inspect that page as I did and find the right element that we are trying to interact with, because automation is looking for the elements, right? And trying to interact with them, like entering text, clicking buttons. So in order to do that, to find that element, you need to understand HTML and CSS as well, and JavaScript, obviously, right? Because that will be the language used for testing, for automation testing, and for front-end development as well. And front-end required this as well, because front-end is using JavaScript to create the structure. So you have to know the structure as well in order to create it, right? Which element you need to use. For example, you would like to display the field, you have to use input element and so on. So let's do that. So first of all, so what do we have here? HTML head body width. Okay, title, div. Okay, got it. So what I would like to show you first is two different types of element. So let's do the text. The text usually is in span element, span, and you can close it and open it and close it, span. Okay, and here. And you just, in between, you add some text. So actually, it's not necessary to open it in one line and close it in the second line. You can open it and close it right away, like this. For code, it doesn't matter, because your code works very simple. It looks for the opening tag and closing tag. Even if there are the same line, different lines, they may be like 1,000 lines apart, right? Because if you open again Facebook, when you open body and when you close body, between them, there are probably a million lines of code, because Facebook is very complex application. So there may be thousands of lines of code between when you open body and close body. So for the code, it doesn't matter, but it should be opening tag and closing tag in order for the code to understand the structure of your page. If you forget to close your tag, nothing will work. So the entire application will be broken. So that's the main problem with the HTML. It should be very strict. You open and you close, then your code knows what to do with that tag. So I open span and close span and write hello world. And you can see my text over here. So this will be a span tag. What I would like to show you is like this. I will do inspect. I will do inspect. You don't have to do that, but I will show you that. So span, when I select it over here, when I select it, right, you see that it starts over here and ends over here. It's highlighted. Highlighted square is a span tag. And the different, and let me create a div tag right now. So I will do enter and now create div and close div. Div means division. And then here I will put something like, let's say I'm bigger or wider, or I'm taking 100% of the width, like this. And here's the difference. Let me show you inspect. So as you can see, span is just taking this place of the text only. But div takes the entire width of the page. So this is the main difference between them. This is what you need to understand. But most of the websites are built on divs because you can actually control divs. You can separate out the web page to 2 columns. You have a left column, you have right column. Then you put div. Div will take the entire width of the first column. The second div in the second column will have the entire 100% of the second column, right? So this is how you create regular 2 tags. So span is just when you need to create a text element with a specific, not specific width, but just the width of that text only, and that's it. And when you need to create the field, the entire width of the page, for example, you would like to create a row, right? Row. Then you use div, and it will take the entire row. Because if I, what is the difference actually? Because if I use another span next to it, like this span, let me span over here and another div next to it as well. So the difference, as you can see, so the span will be next to the element to the right, and then so on and so on, right? But the div, the next div, will appear in the next line. So it really depends on the goal of what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to put elements next to each other, then you can use spans. If you're trying to put elements in the separate rows, you use div because it will take the entire width of the element you are in. Because right now the body is entire website, so we have the entire width of the page. But if I have the element that is this big, like just like maybe third of the page, third of the width of the page, I have that element and I put div inside, div will take 100% of the width of that element. So it actually is the structure of your page. So if I can put, for example, div inside span. So I can have span and then I can put div inside. So I can break my website as I want. And div will always take the 100% of the element that it is in. So it doesn't, it's not like the width of the website, it's width of the element it is in. But in our case, since div is in body, and body is everything that we have, everything that we see, that's why it takes the entire width of the page. And this is how it works. Okay, what else? You can also create input and close it. Right, so what you see is the input field. And also, and let me just, as you can see, it's just as you can see, it's a inline element that it's taking just a part of the this page, not the entire, as you can see, not the entire width of the page. And then let me create a button. Okay, button, and I will close it. Like this. Button, and in order to specify the name of the button, as you can see, there is a button, but it's too small. I need to put the text between those opening and closing tag. So let me put something, click me, right? Click me, like this. Okay, so so we have this, good. So we have, as you can see, both button and the field, they are not taking the entire width of the page. So actually, just to let you know how they are called, these elements called inline, they are not taking the entire width of the application, and a div is called block element. It's taking the width of the entire page, inline and block. So these guys are inline elements. And so input is inline element. It's just taking some specific space that it takes, the element takes inside, and I put button next to it. It doesn't appear in the next line, as you can see, because it takes also this only the some specific small space according to text we enter in. So this is how button works as well. And what else we can do? Oh, image. I can show. Oh, so also we have age tags. Oh, that's a problem. As you can see, it's formatting me this thing because I closed input, but input is some exclusion. It doesn't have closing tag. It usually closed in the same tag. So input doesn't have a closing tag because we don't have anything to put between that. So let me close it like this and see if it works now. Yeah, now it works. So input, and then let me show you H1. So H is a header or heading, H1. It's used for text, for heading for the page. For example, I would like to have some huge heading, like hello, right? Then the next level, subheading, will be H2, and we have six those levels. H6, for example, will be like this. And in between, we have H2, H3, so on. Let me just show you H3, for example. So you can see that it will be a little bit bigger, right? And we have from H1 to H3. Again, just in order for you to create different headings. So there are usually one H1 heading, then few H2, then inside H2 you have H3, and so on. Just when you create a structure of your document, right? You should have some big heading that usually you start with, like the main title of your page, and then few other sections. Then you have section inside, and for those you just use different levels of heading tag: H1, H2, H3, H5, H4, H5, and H6. Also, I would like to show you the image tag. It's also closed in the same line as input. But in order to see something, because you don't see something, image uses, so we need to use attributes. So some elements, actually all elements, all tags, they can have attributes. And the image will be the first attribute that I'm going to show you how it works. So image doesn't work by default. In order to show some image, we need to point this tag to the exact image. Usually this is the image in your folder. So when you have this HTML file in some folder on your computer, you then have some images in the same folder or different folder. And in order to tell your image tag, hey, display this image, you use src attribute. So these tags may have attributes, and our attribute will be source. src means source, and you can simply put here in this source attribute, you can simply put the link to the any image. Give me a second.
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
Yeah, because I asked that I need a minute to solve something. But I'm back. Yes.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
Yeah, this is the syntaxes of attributes. So again, just to repeat again, the syntaxes is just the way that you need to use for the program to understand your code. So HTML has a specific syntaxes. This is syntaxes how you open the tag. This is syntaxes how you close the tag. Some tags don't have closing tag. They just open in the same and close in the same tag, like input and image. And also there is a syntaxes for attributes. So attributes is usually you mention the attribute, then equal sign, and then double quotes to open that and double quotes to close that value. So this is the attribute of the tag. This is the equal sign, means this attribute equals to something. And this is just a value of that attribute that is in double quotes. So, and the value should be the link to the image, or this is the image in your folder, and you just say the image name and or folder / image name, or the link in the on some website in the internet. So let's do that. Text start. Do you have a link of this image? Oh no, not like this. Open image in new tab. Yeah, so this is the link to this image. Let me try doing like this. Hey, I lost my, yes, it's here. Let me go back here and put this link in here. As you can see, it's displayed over here, right? It's a big one. So there are other tags, attributes that we can use for the image. I can do height equal to, and I can say, let's say 30 pixels, right? As you can see, it became 30 pixels. That's it. And width is set by default because this is the square, right? So if I set 30 pixels, so the width will be 30 pixels automatically. Or I can mention something specific. It will be not 30 pixels. For example, I can say width 60 pixels. It will make it 60 pixels, right? And so on. But I will make it 30 by 30. So this is the syntaxes of the HTML, right? As you can see, right? So it has tags and it has attributes. Every tag may have attributes, and attributes are written very simple. So you have to say, you have to have space between your tag name to let the system know that this is, you're starting writing a attribute, and then you just name it. For example, for the input, there is a placeholder. Placeholder is a text that displayed in the field when it's empty. So you can say equal and then double quotes. And actually, as you can see, I enter one double quote, but the system enters the second one automatically, right? And then I just specify, for example, type here, right? And as you can see, there is a placeholder over here. Type here. So this is the placeholder tag that controls it. If I need to enter another tag, let me try if the width will work here. Width. I need to put space between them because this is how system actually reads everything. System knows, okay, if there's a tag, it will be open. But if there is a space inside that tag, space. So as you can see, I don't have closing tag yet. The tag is still open, right? So if there is a space, the system looks for the attribute and looking, the attribute is placeholder, then it's equal to type here. So this is what I need to display in the field. Okay, then there is a space. Okay, I don't have a closing tag yet. There is a space. Okay, so there is a width word. So what is a width? In the system, it's a width of the element. And let's see if it will work. Let's say 300 pixels. No, it doesn't work for this. Oh, maybe it worked. 300 pixels. No, let me change it. Let me change it to 500 pixels. No, seems like it doesn't work for this field, which is okay. Let's try if that works for the button. And I would like to make it with 500 pixels. No, with should be correct. Right, 500 pixels doesn't work as well. So it will be controlled by CSS. Actually, we will have to control it by CSS. As you can see, so those are the attributes. And image won't work if you don't have an attribute source. So actually for the image, we just say source of this image is this URL. This is the source. This is actually the image we are trying to display. And it has height and width. Right? So these are the attributes. So those are the main two things that you need to understand about the HTML. And let's maybe do something more specific. Let's maybe create something, something that we would like to create in the real world that we can use then CSS for. So let me delete everything. Let me delete everything except text start probably. Let's have that image in the top. Okay, good. Do I have shorter source for this? Let me maybe find something else. IT logo. IT logo. Okay, like this. IT images. And then let me use this one. Does it have shorter? Copy. Open image in a new tab. Image in a new tab. Yeah, this is shorter link. So let me use this one. Hopefully it will be shorter. Yeah, a bit shorter. I would like to find something. Image in a new tab. No, it's too long. Oh, super long. How about this one? New tab. Oh, again. Super long. No. Okay, let's use this one. This is probably pretty short, shorter than we had before. So we had this image, okay, 30 pixels. Good. Inspect. So what do we have here? Okay, good. So image is an inline element, as you can see. It doesn't take the entire screen. Okay, so when I would like to start a new line, for example, I need to display some element in a new line, because what I would like to do actually, I would like to have one section that displays only image. So for that, what I would like to do, I would like to create div, then I will close it, div, I will close it, and I will put image inside. So in that way, I know that nothing will be displayed except the image in this line, because it will be div and image. That's it. So when I need to create a new line, I will create another div, and I will place something inside div. Right? So I have body. My body is the entire website, and so far I have one div, which is the top section, and the bottom div, which is the below it. And here I would like to place some h1 tag. h1, which is a big text. Hello to the coding world. And I will close h1. Okay, so now I would love to place, let's say, input field. No, not the input field. I would like to place h3 text below. What should I do? I need some help. Let me ask Dmitry Goncharov. I see you're texting something in the chat. So what should I do? I would like to display the text over here, but below, and it should be h3 probably, smaller than this one. Come on, don't hesitate to turn your microphone on and just tell me.
No, I was just looking how to unmute. So I believe we should put the different width to the text.
Yeah, but what the tag should I create first? What will be the structure of your code?
For the text h1 open and h1 close.
I would like to use h3. So my idea is to have a smaller text.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then open H3 and then close it, and in the middle you put your text.
Yes, let's do H3. Okay, so that would be it. And now let me see input, enter your name. Okay, so actually that works. As you can see, let me inspect it. As you can see, so H1 and H3 take the entire width. So it's a block element, and you don't have to actually create div for it. So I can even remove my div because I will automatically have the structure I need. I don't have to create a div to have a new line. But now what I'm planning to do, I'm planning to enter the input field. How we know, enter your name. How we know the input field is an inline element. It will not take the entire space of the entire width of the website. And then my goal is to create a button below the field. So what should I do to create two separate lines? Sergey Maximov, what do you think?
Repeat the question again, please. You want to create a button, but you want to start a new line?
Yeah, I would like to have input field and button, but in new different lines, not next to each other how we had before. Because before we just created input, we just created button, but they are next to each other, right? Because they are inline elements. But I would like to have them in a separate lines. So how to do that, actually? How to create separate lines?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused because the div will take the whole line.
Okay.
And you cannot enter anything. But if you want to start another line, it would be a button.
Actually, you were partially right. You need to create a div, and then you can put your elements inside that div. So you will create a div that will be below, actually, because as you remember, div takes the entire width. So actually, this guy takes the width. H3 also takes the width, the entire width. So this is how you can see it. H3, you just hover over it, and you see that H3 also takes the entire width, same as H1. And I bet every H tag H1 to H6 take the entire width of the application. So actually, if you need to create something in the next line, which is you just create a div, and div. And you can,
and then you have to put the button right inside the div.
First of all, we need to create an input field.
Oh, input. Yes.
So you put input inside first, and remember, input is getting closed in this. It doesn't have a closing tag. It just closed inside. Why? Because the reason is simple. Probably, I don't know the exact reason, because I didn't create HTML, but probably the creators thought that they don't have a case when you put text or something between input opening and closing tag. So that's why they created just one tag that displays input by default. And now my goal is to create a button, but below the input field. So what should I do?
Yeah, do another div.
Yes.
And then button.
Just to explain, if I put button over here, as you can see,
it's gonna be the same line.
Yeah, it will be the same line because those are our inline elements. But in order to move it to the next line, I just will create div on my own, next line on my own, and then I will move the button inside this div. So I will actually cut it from here and paste it over here. Okay, like this, and I will do like this. So now you can see, and I will name it submit. Like this. Button will be submit, and we will style everything. We will change it a little bit once we use CSS, but for now, this is just a skeleton. And now I can see my structure of my code. I see that I have HTML, which is the entire file. I see head, which is the information about my website. And so far, I just have only one tag, which is title. So let me do this like this. Title, it will be in the same line. Title opening, free course, and closing. So title is the name of the page that will be displayed over here. And then I have body that is opening over here and here. And body is what displays on my website. So actually I have one div which has an image. I have h1, h3, which is these two guys. Then I have div that contains input, and I have div that contains submit button, and so on. So you can actually continue, right?
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you put H1 and then you put a space, and in the same line you can put H3, because it's not a div, they can be next to each other in one line, yes?
No, they will be in different lines anyways.
Oh, they will, okay.
Yeah, because this is how they work. Your code over here doesn't create the structure. The tag itself creates the structure. So
okay.
H1 always takes the entire line. So actually you can put H1, H3, you can put div in one line, but they will always take the next line because this is how they work. So this is not how you write the code. This is actually what you use as your tag. And usually this is just for formatting purposes. For you to see your structure, you put them in a separate lines. But even if I put, as you can see, button in different lines, they still will be in the same line, because this is not about how you write the code. This is how the button works and how input works. Right? But when you need to create separate lines, then you use div, and that's it. Because you think, I need to have my button in the next line. That's why you create div. Div will take, and let's inspect. Div will take the entire space of this. This is the div over here. It takes the entire space of the entire width of the page. And then inside you put button, and button will be inside this div. This is the div. It's highlighted. And then you have button inside. And in this div, you can put elements next to each other. So if you're planning to have like a header and then many icons inside, so you create one div for header and then icons inside that div. So you will have what you will have on your page, one header, which is the width of the page, and inside multiple icons. And those icons,
they're all going to be in the same line, yes?
Yeah, it will be
inside the div. Okay.
If you use, for example, image, because as you can see, image, I can add another image. For example, let me take one image. Let me find another image. Oh, or the same, right? As you can see, they appear next to each other. See that? I put them in a different lines over here. But since the image itself, EMG tag, always takes only this space, it's an inline element. It will be displayed next to each other. So this is how we do. If you need to display them in separate lines, then you create div, then div inside div. So actually you have a bigger div, then one div inside and second div inside. Let me just do that. For example,
can you make spaces? If you need to make a space between two images, can you do that somehow?
Yeah, but we will do that with CSS.
Oh,
not
okay.
Not with the
the placement is going to be in different CSS. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, CSS will add, we can add spacing, we can add like editing, where we would like to align it to the right, to the left, to the middle, for example, right? Space from the top, space from the bottom. So we will do that. The size of the text, for example, everything else is controlled by CSS. Its appearance, its skin. Okay, so this is, oh man, I touched my monitor again. Okay, now I got it. It was not plugged in. Just give me a second, I will. Are you able, guys, to see my screen now?
No.
No, we just see you.
Okay, it just disappeared. Sure. How about now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Awesome. Got it. Okay, so what else? Let's maybe, do you have any ideas what we would like to add else? Oh, let's see, for example, I would like to have, so I have header. Let's see, this is header, and I will have two icons in the middle. Or one, oh, not like that. Let's have one icon and one text. And they should be next to each other. Should I create, so what should I do? I would like to have an icon and then text like logo and the description. So what should I do? So how
You
to
gotta-
add a text next to it? What should I do?
Just
You gotta
use
open-
span.
Open div and continuously adding icon.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Look, if I create div, look what happens. Div, and then div, and then text. See?
oh,
What
it goes
happens?
to the next page.
I have
it
a
goes to
one
the
div,
next-
which is this one. So let me just inspect it so you can see. So I have this div that I open and close. So here it is. It's a big one now because I like have two elements inside now, right? So this is the div. So I have image and I have text in a div. And div takes the next line automatically, the entire width. So how can I get it next to each other? So what should I use?
If you use a span tag, it should work.
And span should work.
Somebody's watching Cops on the TV.
It's not formatted. It's not formatted yet, so we will move it a little bit. But for now, it works fine. So we have the it's next to each other. Yes, and this is how you structure, right? When you need to display something next to each other, you use like inline elements. If you need to display them in different lines, you use block elements, which is like h3, h elements, and div element, and so on. There are many elements. I actually with HTML tags. I will send you the link. Oh, this guy. There are a lot of them, as you can see, and how to use them. And for example, for figure, form, footer, for example, header has the separate specific tag for it, right? HR is a line break, as I remember. Just when you type a text and just do a line break. I'm not using it because you can use divs and nobody's using it anymore. But anyways, it's there still. Image, input, and a lot of label for the input fields and so on. So there's a lot of elements, and I will send you this guide. Let me like this. So you can, if you're interested, you can read it, but you will learn them on their own. Once you work with the web applications, you will learn more tags, and that will be in the main course. But if you are interested right now, just to play in your homework, just to play with different elements, try what they do, you can. Yeah, I will send you this link here, and I will send it to the chat as well. And later I will mention it in the homework as well. So you can have this in the homework for your reference. Okay. Oh, BR is a line break and HR is a line. Okay, let's use HR. Actually, I like HR. HR is a line. You remind me about that here because I forgot. I thought HR is a line break. BR is a line break. HR is a line. So I would like to have a line over here between the div and H1. So I put HR and I see the line, as you can see, right? This is what HR does. Okay, and I need to close it right away. Okay, so this is it. So this is all with HTML, what we had to learn. This is just a static skeleton. Now we need to make it more beautiful. So in order to do that, we will use CSS. So CSS is cascade style sheet. So actually, you just create styles over here, styles for the elements, and how to tell the CSS to apply specific style to some element. We need to somehow point them. So there are 3 ways to point CSS to specific elements. So first way is just tag name. So you can use in CSS and apply styles to specific tags. For example, I would like to change body, the entire body of my website, and make the background, I don't know, red, for example. So I say body and then space and then curly braces, open and close. And then I press enter. So this is the CSS style. It says body this is what I apply style to. This is the body tag. When you just type the name, you apply it to the tag. And then between curly braces, everything I mentioned over here will be a style. So For the background color, the style will be called background color. Background dash color. Actually, okay, CSS properties, CSS properties, CSS reference. And as you can see, there's a lot of them, a lot of different properties. So my will be background color. In order background color, here it is. This is my guy. I open it, and as you can see, here's a good example. Same thing, Coral, right? Coral. They use Coral and semicolon to end that style. So they use Coral, but there is a lot of other colors. Actually, you can use hex coding. You can use RGB coding to define the color, and RGBA and other, as you can see, other examples here as well. But there are predefined colors as well. So you can use, for example, something like yellow, coral, and so on. There are predefined. How actually to get the list of those guys? Color values over here, probably. Color values. Let me open this. Oh, as you can see, red transparency. Like this is the hex, starting with £. This is the hex coding and coding. Oh, this is the hex encoding. This is as well. This is the RGB colors, right? And you can Oh, interesting. I don't have any actually color names reference. Maybe over here. Yeah, finally. As you can see, there is a hex coding, and there is a name, and the name works as well. So actually, let me try Azure Blue. Will it work like this? I don't see anything here. Dark gray, hot pink, indigo. What if I use how to get back? Oh, okay. Color mixer. Oh, there are different color mixes that you can have a hex from. So let me actually use, for example, this one. So this is the color I would like to use, right? So I can use background color like this. As you can see, the entire body gets the color, the entire body of my, because I'm applying this background color to the entire body. But let's say if I would like to apply it only for H1, I will use H1. And the background color will be applied only to H1 or to all the buttons on my website. Button, so the button will get background color, this guy. Actually, what if I use Azure Blue? Azure Blue. No, how to use the color name? I can definitely use yellow, for example, yellow or red or green or blue, right? So some color names are predefined. Either you use them or you use hex encoding, any color that you can think of, or RGB and so on. As you can see, everything is here, color names, color values. Black, navy, blue, teal, spring green. So those guys are there as well. But why it's not aqua? Aqua should use because this is the, oh, maybe I need to use big letters as well. Weird. Oh, actually it works. Oh, nice. So those are the values that we can use as well. So I can give you these guys. Let me do like this, CSS reference over here. This is for CSS. Let me send it to the chat for you as well. And here we'll be looking for different properties in the CSS and their values, right? How to use specific value. And let me send it to the chat as well. So I sent it both to Zoom chat and to the free course chat. Okay. So I would like to, so this is the way in which we apply this style, CSS style, to some specific element. But Sometimes you would like to have different kind of buttons, right? You would like to have primary button and secondary button. And let's actually do that. So I have button submit and button cancel. Cancel like this, right? So I would like to have them different colors and different styles because right now they look the same, right? But in web development, usually you have one button, which is primary button. It has a specific color that is showing the users that, hey, this is the main button on this page. And there is a secondary button, usually like gray color or something like that, or some delete button that has red color showing that, hey, this is something important. Don't click it just for any case. It has a specific goal, right, and a specific purpose, right? So in order to, so we cannot use tag, right? In that case, we need to use something odd, something different. So first of all, let me do this following. I would like to apply this to the entire website, but for the buttons, I will use something else. So in order to do that, we need to use attribute called class. So for the buttons, I will create a class. Now, first of all, I will create it over here. We'll create it over here. So classes are created by using dot. This is, I'm creating a class in CSS. And let me call it primary dash button. You cannot use spaces here. You either use like this button, right? Or like this, but like the rules that we're using in CSS, we use dashes, primary button. And then again, use curly braces to open and close this style. And I would love to have my primary button to be blue color. So I will use background color, blue. And also I would like to have my text color, which is just a color. You can find it. So for the text color, the property is just color, white. So this will be my color. But now, in order to use this style, so why we use styles? Because sometimes you need to create one single style and use it over the website. For example, your pop-ups that appear on the website, they should look the same. So you create a style for the pop-up, the size of the pop-up, right? And the background of that pop-up, the maybe you would like to round the corners, right? So you create the style for that, and it has a single style. And then whenever you need to apply that style to your pop-up, you just call that class. So this is what we use. If, for example, I created this for a primary button, and I have many pages with many primary buttons, I can use this on any other button that they have on my website once I created it. So I created it once, but can use it multiple times. And in order to use it, I need to, for that tag in HTML, I need to add property class equal, and it should be equal to the name of this without dot, the name of this class, this style. So I use this and paste it over here. As you can see, it's applied automatically. So this is how it works. If I have another page, and on my another page, I'll also have primary button. So I just create tag with class primary button, and that button will be also blue with a white color. So once I created that primary button class, I will use it on entire website, in every place that I have a primary button. Same with everything else. Same with secondary button. So let me help to create a style for the secondary button. And again, so this, if you would like to apply style to the entire tag, to body, or you would like every div on the website look in a specific way, or every button, or every H3, or every input to look in the specific way, you can use the tag name. In CSS, you just use it name without dots, with any other symbol, just a name, and then open curly braces. So this is how it works. Whenever you need to create a class in CSS, then you put dot, and then define the name. You define the name. So for example, in my case, it's primary button. Now I would love to create a class for the cancel button and call it secondary button. So help me to create that class first. So who can help me? Evgeny Nikiforov, can you help me with that? So how do I do that? I would like to create a class for the secondary button.
Just
So first
put
of all,
dot,
dot and
secondary, dash button,
that's
curly
correct.
braces.
Button, button, curly braces, and enter. And I would love to have the background color to be gray. It is gray. Okay, but let's have it not gray because it's gray by default. Let's have it maybe red. Secondary button should be red. So what should I type over here?
Background color.
I will copy from here, but just replace it.
Columns.
And let's see, red. It will be red, so probably it will be pretty dark. So I need my text color to be white as well. So what should I do?
Let's change the color
To what?
to white, you said, right?
Okay, white. Okay, and it's not working. So what did I forget?
You forgot to put the class, to attach that class to exactly button.
Yeah, okay. So I will put this button, space,
Yep.
place equal primary button. What? No, what is primary?
You copy the primary button class on in HTML.
That's correct. So I will put secondary button, and that's it. So now I have secondary button and I have primary button, and this is how it works. So this is how you connect it with class. Also, there is a third way to, so this is the main thing that you need to remember. This is how CSS usually works and how it's used by developers. So developers rarely use body, for example, or another tag, because they are very specific. And if you apply something to the input, and sometimes in the future, you would like to have another input that is not looking the same as the other inputs, you have a problem because your CSS automatically changes all the inputs over the website. So nobody usually uses tag names in CSS. Usually everybody creates a specific class that you can use. If you're not using it, it won't be applied, right? Automatically to every element. So in order to use it, you have to use class attribute in the tag. So in that case, you are not breaking anything else. So nobody is using this. Yes, sometimes we are using this to body. For example, I would love to have my website to be black, but with white text. So so in like dark mode, right? So I can apply that to the entire body to have my entire website to look in specific way with dark background and white text. So in that case, yes, but mostly we are using classes. And there is a third way that is also not used often, but it is there and it's working. So you can use IDs. So for example, if some specific element has an ID and we create IDs to uniquely identify elements, for example, I would say image, and ID is another attribute. So I can ID equal to logo, for example, right? So this element will have an ID, unique ID. You don't see it, but it's used for programmatically find that element, unique element in the code. So I can use ID logo for my logo. So span will have ID title, for example, title. Right, so this will be title of my website. So H1 will be ID, something unique, I don't know, welcome text. So those are not, they don't have specific usage. For example, for users who use our website, those are used for automation and for coding, because JavaScript also can look for the elements by their IDs. And for automation, they use as well to find elements, unique elements in the page and interact with them. And there is a way to find those elements. So you can see IDs on the website. So make it here. Let me try to inspect this guy. Does it have any ID? I don't see any ID. Oh, here's the ID. CSS properties, right? So this guy, this entire div, this big ID has an ID, CSS properties, right? There is a ID, my page div. The only thing when developers create these guys, they have to be unique. So ID is something unique. It's a unique identifier of some specific thing. If you have an ID, it's your unique identifier, right? If you have ID for the element, it's that element's unique identifier. So the only thing that you need to remember, they should be unique. This will be label text. Welcome text, label text, ID, name input, for example, name input, and so on, and so on. And those buttons may have IDs, and you can have a lot of different attributes, right? So I was showing you this link with the attributes. Yeah, I see your hand, Dmitry. I will get back to you soon. So we have all those, so you can use audio, for example, right? Audio has source attribute, has type attribute, and so on. So specific tags have specific attributes. And you just list them through space. So you have attribute equal to the value in double quotes, then you have space, then you can have another attribute, then you can have another attribute, and there is no limit, actually. You can add as many attributes as that the tag can take, because some tags, as you could see already, don't work with width. I say width equal to that, but it doesn't work, right? So some tags don't work with specific attributes, but you can have as many of them as you want, unless you just if you just put the space and then add another attribute, and so on. So, for example, in this case, I can have a class, I can have an ID for this button, I can have something else, another attribute, and so on. So there can be custom attributes that you create just for your own usage, and so on. So, and there is a third way to create a class for the IDs. You use this guy and ID name, for example, name input, and this class will be applied to element with such ID. So you use that for classes, you use just the name for the text, and you use dash, oh, not the dash, pound sign, you use pound sign for the IDs. But most used case is classes. This is what used in development. This is a rare case, and this is rare case. So just remember these guys. So this is the most commonly used guys. But just to let you know, there is a way to apply style to ID, and there is a way to apply style to the tag. Okay, Dmitry, I see you raised hand question.
Yeah, so basically this HTML and CSS, they're like twin brothers. There's no point to learn these languages separate, right? They always come together.
Yeah. So every website, as you can see, so there is a over here. I'm inspecting this. You have HTML of this entire page, and you have styles over here on the right. For example, I can select body, and as you can see, there is a lot of styles that apply to body. So they have height 100%. They have font family. They are applying to this website. They have margin and padding, which is 0. They have font size, which is 13 pixels. Right? I can apply it, or I can remove it, right? And so on. So yeah, they always come together, plus JavaScript. So there is JavaScript, because if we just had HTML and CSS, we won't be able to move this. So this functionality that I can move something, that I can do something, this is done by JavaScript, because JavaScript is the muscles of the website. And yes, the skeleton, appearance or a skin, and then we have JavaScript that in order to do something with the website. Okay, so this is about HTML and CSS. So we will be using them, HTML and CSS, when we will be working with automation, and if you will be considering going to, for example, front end, because in the front end, you will create JavaScript code using React, for example, but React will be generating HTML. So you have to know what to generate by React and which element to use to display the input field, for example, right? And so on. So let me just use a few more things to make these buttons more beautiful. So let's see, yeah, so what we would like to use here. So let's create a class for this text. Let's create a class for this text. Let's call it, I don't know, title, or no, header title, header title. And what I would like to do, first of all, I would like to, so how, so I would like to font size, change the font size, and let's have it will be 16 pixels. And how can I apply this class to this text? Who can help me with that? So let's see, Dmitry. Yeah, Dmitry, help me with that. How to apply this class to this text?
To the text, so we need to put, we go to the, what was it? H6, right?
No, this text.
This text. Oh, I see it. Okay, the text ID. So we need to, after the span, we need to put class.
Class.
Oh, actually, after here, yeah, class equals header title.
So yeah, I'll just copy and paste.
Yep, and set.
Okay, so here we applied, and 16, maybe 18. Yes, it works. Text. Okay, and let me change the text something. Welcome to IT. Welcome to IT. Okay, good. So what I also can do here. So there are two things that you need to learn about is margin and padding. So how to show you, I will do both. So let me do the margin left, 10 pixels. So margin left and padding left 10 pixels. Okay, so we shifted our text to the right a little bit, but what is the difference in margin and padding? You don't have to know that for today, but I will just explain you what is the difference. So here is the element. So here is the element of this, how to show you this? Oh, like this. Here is the box model, and margin is outside. So here, if I select my element, oh man, how to select it? Like this. Oh, like this. If I select my element, so the element starts over here approximately. So margin is outside spacing. So as you can see, border, if where my element ends, this is the border. So if I would like to add inner spacing between the border of my element and the value that is inside, I add padding. If I would like to add spacing outside of the element, like between the elements, I add margin. So margin is the outside. So you can think of the welcome to AT is like a box, and what I have outside of the box, spacing outside of that box, will be margin. What I have between the border of the box and the text will be padding. So this is actually the difference between them. I don't need padding, I just need margin. Yeah, and I would love to actually align this text in the middle. I believe there is a vertical align, vertical line property. So let me try to play with them. Oh, over here, baseline length middle, vertical align middle. So let me try to add this and see, will it work for my text or not? Text bottom, I need to middle. Oh, almost. It moved, but not to the place where I need it. So let me try different ones. Baseline. Okay. Text top. Actually, maybe I want it to the top. No, doesn't work like that. Middle, bottom, text, but initial. Initial. Okay.
So you just moved inside that padding, right? It's like invisible box. So the text just moved inside the padding, basically.
No. So vertical align aligns the element vertically, like between top and bottom. I'm just trying to see, because it doesn't work. It works differently for block elements and for the inline elements. As I can see right now, it doesn't work well for my text because it's inline element. But I'm trying to see how it will work to my image. So I will create another class, call it logo, and I will add a vertical alignment middle over here as well. And let's see if I do this here and I add class equal to logo as well. Oh yeah, I had to do that to both elements. As you can see, now they work well. So they both in the middle. See that? I mean middle, not the middle of the screen, but middle of the vertically, like the middle, it goes from up to down. So the text right now is in the middle. If I, for example, remove this, you will see the difference, right? It moved to the top. If I add vertical line, it's in the middle of between the top and the bottom. And if I do bottom, the bottom, yeah, bottom is over here. So I can move it to the bottom, to the middle, to the top, but I would like to have it in the middle. Also, how to move it to the center of the screen. Maybe I would love to add something to the div or to those two elements. So let me try to add something to div. If I need to move it to the center, right? So let me try this first. First of all, I will look for align, text align center. Let me see. Text align center. So I will create header. Why text? Because text is inline elements and both of them are inline. It should move them to the center. So header, I will use text align center, and I will use class header for my div. So let's see, class header. Yeah. So I created class header, and I told that in my header, the text align. So all the inline elements should be aligned to the center. So actually, I'm aligning the elements themselves vertically in the middle, and everything in header in the middle of the screen. So this is what I did actually. That's what I'm trying to do, and so on. So you can do everything else. So what I would like to play with is here as well. So these guys are okay. I would like to also align them to center. So here I will change this text. I will call it text center. And I will be applying this style to everything that I need text to be in the center. Like this. So now I can use this class text center for H1. So let's try to do that. Yeah. And for H3. See, this is how you work with CSS. You create one style and then apply it to the elements you need to change in specific way. So what if I do if the input, move the input to the center, and I will move the buttons to the center. Awesome. Nice. Now what I would like to do, I would like to input to have bottom margin, to move the buttons a little bit, to have a spacing between them. So I will actually create name input class, name input class, and then here I will create margin bottom. If you use this word margin, it will add margins on every side, but I need just on the bottom. So I will use margin bottom, and I will add, I don't know, 10 pixels. Should be enough. And how can I apply to the input field?
You gotta go to the HTML and apply the class.
Input, yes, class in equal to name input.
Name input.
Yeah, without dot. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, I have this guy. And one more last thing I would like to do, I would like to round the corners. Radius, I believe it's radius. Radius. Border radius, yeah, over here. So I would like to have the round corners for these buttons. So I believe it's border radius a property, but let's try. I don't remember exactly. So for the primary button, border radius will be 10 pixels. No, too much, 5 pixels. Yeah, like this. And same I will apply to the secondary button. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. That's it. So did anybody follow me? How I did this?
Artur, can I ask a question? Can
Yeah,
you do in the body in the CSS? Can you do background color instead of aqua? Can you do source and the link to whatever image you find somewhere in the website? So the background would be image instead of
yes,
the color.
Yes, you can do the image. You can do the image. You can do anything. But what do you need to do? Explore. Explore.
Mhm.
So most of the time I'm working with HTML, CSS. I'm sometimes just Googling, especially with animations, how to animate something, how to make button to move when you hover, for example, right? You just Google. I don't know everything. So that's why I shared with you all the properties. I shared with you all the tags because nobody remembers all of them. Every developer every day uses Google a lot of times because you have to just remind yourself a lot of things. You look for some functions in JavaScript you forgot, right? And so on. So you cannot remember everything. This is how our brain works. Our brain, to get a new knowledge, has to forget something. So you just forget things. And sometimes you have to remind yourself, use Google, open these websites, those specific websites for HTML and CSS. And for JavaScript as well, there's a website for JavaScript as well. And you just need to find some, for example, you may remember that there is a function filter, for example, in JavaScript to filter things, but you don't remember how it exactly works. So you just need to go open the website. This is how it works. It doesn't return anything. So I have to actually create something and just push something in another variable just to remind myself. Yeah, so there is a question, why you have ID £, and a class dot. It is, for example, or we always need to write both? No, it's up to you. So you are a developer. You create as you want. You create a class and create a class property attribute in the tag. This is how you do. Or if you would like to apply this style to specific ID, then you write it and create it. But again, remember, mostly in 99.99%, we use, as developers, we use classes because this is what they created for, to create a specific class that you can apply to any element that you need. For example, you created a class primary button. Now you have another page, right? And there is also 2 buttons, and you need to apply to this style to that button. That's it. The style is there already created, and you need just to create a class primary button, and that button will become primary. You have a secondary button. You apply your class secondary button to that button, it becomes secondary right away. So this is how you use CSS. You create different styles and apply them to elements. So actually the number of styles on the website, they are limited. You create some number of styles, number of elements, and then you just use them. For example, all buttons on the Facebook look the same, right? All the menus that you open look the same because there are styles for them. And developers just apply those styles to specific elements. So you go to another website, they have their own style. They created a bunch of other classes and apply them to their elements. So the buttons on their website looks different than on Facebook, but they look the same as the other buttons on that website. If you open a pop-up on that website, there are many pop-ups. They look the same in terms of like background, in terms of like shadow that they are having, though, and so on. So they look the same. The buttons look the same. So there is a limited number of styles the people create usually, and just apply them to the elements. This is how it works. But I showed ID just so you know that you can apply style to specific ID, and you can apply a style to specific tag, right? But mostly we are using these guys. This is like 99% of the cases. We just use tags and IDs sometimes when you need to do that. But I can imagine the case when we apply something to body or specific tag because we need to change the entire website. But I never saw when people apply styles to IDs. Like when you have classes, you can have class. What would you use IDs? But there is a way, especially for automation. It's mostly for automation because we will be using this selector with pound sign in automation to find elements on the page by IDs. So that's how it works. Okay, so I will give you some homework related to this, but let's now switch to JavaScript. So this is the main thing that we need to do. So for now, did anybody follow me with this website? Did anybody did the same in HTML and CSS, or you were just watching?
Well, not the same. I did something different, but yeah, I was trying to try different things that you were doing.
So your goal will be to okay, I will give you some homework related to this. For example, some small CSS and HTML stuff to create. You don't have to create anything specific, but I will give you some homework, an example to create. How you can share that with me. You can do file and save snapshot. Then you will get this unique link over here. So this guy will appear in between. And this is just showing that tabs that are open. So you can actually even ignore them. So even if I close this, I still will be able to open my site. Okay, output. Okay, dismiss. So you need to, oh, what happened? File and save snapshot, and then you will get this link, unique link to your homework. But forget about this right now. We are switching to JavaScript. So you can close output, CSS and HTML, open JavaScript and console. JavaScript and console. This is two things we need for JavaScript. Hey guys, question before we switch to JavaScript. Do you need like 5 minutes break, like maybe to get some water or to do your own stuff, to the restroom, like 5 minutes, and then we will get back? Yes? Okay, then 5 minutes break. I will put the recording on pause and we will continue in 5 minutes. So see you in 5 minutes. Okay, see ya. Okay, guys, I'm back. One just off-topic question, guys. I saw that many of you resolved comments in the requirements for the QA. Please continue doing that because I still see a lot of different questions that are not resolved yet. So I still see them in the comments. So whoever asked the question, please go over your questions in the document after this lesson, of course, and just resolve them. I believe I answered everything that was there. Try to cover everything, updated the requirements, added new requirements. So now it seems like super clear. So if you like the answer, just go ahead and resolve your comment after this lesson. Let me share my screen again. Desktop. Okay. are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So
Yes.
let's get to JavaScript. JavaScript will be used by us as a coding language for automation, and as well it's used for front-end developer, for mobile development, and for back-end development. So that's why we are using JavaScript for our courses. There is literally no language that can do the same. There are specific languages like Python, for example. Python is very good for automation and is very good for artificial intelligence development, but you will not find really good and popular front-end development frameworks on Python, for example, right? Or mobile development frameworks on Python. So the most popular front-end development framework right now is React. It's JavaScript based, right? If you take mobile development, you will find that there is a React native, like same tool as React, but for mobile applications. And the advantage is that you develop those applications, not specifically for iOS or for Android. You write everything in JavaScript, in React actually, but the application is generated both for iOS and Android at the same time, which is super useful, right? For example, you can take an example. For example, the tools that you use, the Messenger, Facebook Messenger, probably used by you daily. It's in React Native. Actually, Facebook is the company that supports React as a front end and React Native as a mobile development tool. So you can see, you can, for example, check the examples of Facebook Messenger is written in React Native. And also there are backend frameworks available in JavaScript. So actually knowing this only language, you can do both automation, front-end development, backend development, which is full stack development together, and plus mobile development. So that's why we choose JavaScript, because we can do everything in a single language. And that allowed us to create that level structure, right? Because, for example, how we do, you learn coding basics on level 1. And then once you know coding basics, you are able to go either to automation or to front-end development. Or you can go to automation and then to front-end developer. Or as Sergey mentioned today, he started as automation engineer in JavaScript. And he worked probably for 8 months and then switched to front-end development because it was an easy switch for him, because the same language, he just needed to learn React, which is just a different tool. And that's it. He's ready to be a front-end developer. And he found a job at one company. He worked, he actually switched at the same company. He was a automation engineer, but then he went to Microsoft, then he went to HP and currently working for HP as a front-end developer. So it's easy switch. Then once you know React Native is actually super easy for you, because the only difference that they have is that in React development for front end, we are using HTML tags to generate HTML pages, right? To generate web pages. In mobile development, just the tags are different. So we are using, instead of like body, you use view, for example, tag with uppercase, starting with uppercase. So the tags are different that are related to the native mobile elements, but this is the only difference. How it works in general, the functions, the hooks you're using, the technology is the same. So actually, once you know front-end development, you can be mobile developer and work on React Native and create both iOS and Android applications at the same time using the same code. And once you know that, backend, which is, for example, Express.js and working with databases, is also only one step for you, because you already know JavaScript. You just need to use another tool, which is Express.js, for example. You can use MongoDB, and that's it. You can be full stack developer in just several months. So that's why we selected JavaScript, and today we will start learning it. Okay, questions so far before I start? No questions. Okay, so our goal today is to learn variables and constants, learn data types, and learn if else. It should be pretty simple. So again, as with HTML, JavaScript has specific syntaxes. So the main thing in every coding language is a variable. A variable is a place in the memory of your computer that will be filled with some information, that we store information in that place of the memory, right? So when you create a variable, your computer takes a little piece of your memory in your computer and creates there something. And you store in that piece of memory, you can store a text, number, you can store a big thing, right? And so on. So you need to allocate memory in your computer for such thing. And that thing called either variable or a constant. And we're going to create that. So variable is created in JavaScript by using word let. Oh man, this is my let. And then you define the name. For example, I would like to store the first name in this variable, or just let it call a. It's variable a. Hey, come on. I already cloned. What do you want from me? Okay. Variable a. And then I would like to say that it stores my age, for example, 33. It will store my age. And same as in CSS, we need to end the line with semicolon. So our code knows that this is it. This is the line. This is single thing that this person wanted to do. So by doing this, I created a variable in my memory in my computer that will store the number 33. Then I can say let b, which is another variable that will store something else, maybe somebody else's age, like 56, right? And then I can create third variable, which is let c, for example. And if I would like here to get a sum, so I need to do addition and get a sum of the previous two ages. So instead of like putting 33 plus 56, I already have them in the code. I already have 33 that is stored in A, and I have 56 that is stored in B. So instead of like typing again, I will use these values in the variable. So I will say A plus B. And how do you think, what will be stored in C? Who can tell me that? What will be stored in C?
89.
89, that's correct, absolutely. So this is how the coding done. So you create variables to store data in them and reuse them. So you can imagine variables as a box, right? I have a box. I don't have a box over here, but imagine I have a box, right? And the variable name, which is A or B or C, or like it can be first name, it can be anything else. So the name is defined by you. So you create a box by saying let, you create a box. By saying A, you type a name of that box, like box number A, right? Box B, box C. So you can imagine this is the empty box with C. But when you put equal sign, that means that you take something and put inside. In my case, I put number 33. In case B, I created a box B and put number 56. And in case C, what I did, I created a box with a C and took a number from A, 33, took a number from B, 56, put together and put into B, and I got the number 89. Now, how to actually remember, I told you that we use HTML to create skeleton, a CSS, we used to make it beautiful. Output in order to see what is our website, how is our website created, and console is used to see something that we're coding actively in JavaScript. So in order to see something in the console, there is a function, console.log. Console.log, and here this is the function that you can print something to the console. If I print 56, for example, and I click run, it will just print 56. But if I would like to see what is inside that variable C, I need to put C in here. So my console log will take C, look inside, and print whatever is inside. So it will be 89. If I would like to print A, I just print A. A, and I see 33. If I print B, I will see 56. If I print C, clear, I will see 89. So I can print whatever to the console. So console log is just a function that print something to the console. This is the only goal that it has, just to print something. And what to print, you decide. If you take C, it will print whatever is inside. If you take B, it will print whatever is inside B. If you print just a word or a number, it will print word or a number. So now let's learn the different data types. So what we put into those boxes is a data, and it can be in different forms. So the first form that we already learned is a number. To write a number, you don't have to do anything specific. You just write a number. But if I need to put a word, a text inside that variable, it's not that easy, because as you can see, the words I'm typing, my code reads them as a variable. So if I put, for example, if I create a variable, how to create a variable? What should I type first? What word?
Let.
That's correct. I am creating a variable let. And let's say first name. So if I'm using into variable name several words, I use so-called camel case. So the first word goes in lowercase first. And then every next word starts with uppercase. It's called camel because you have those bumps, right? So first name. So I created a variable. This is just like, there is no strict rule. I can put like this and JavaScript will still work, right? But this is like just for people to read your variables easily. There's like well-known rule between developers that we need to use camel case to name your variables in the way that it's easy to read, because you can easily see the start of every new word. First name, and I would like to store my name there, but I cannot just type Arthur, because words I type in JavaScript are always variable. If I run this, I will get an error message. It will tell Arthur is not defined. So my JavaScript thinks that Arthur is variable, because this is how JavaScript works. Whatever I type just without any symbol is a variable by default. So in order to tell my JavaScript that this is a text, I put it in either single quotes or double quotes. So this is mean text. Oh man. So whatever something is single quotes or double quotes, right? It is a text. So now I can put Arthur. This will be a text, and this text will be put into that box called first name. So I created a box, empty box called first name. I put first name, right? And then I take a text, Arthur, and put it inside. And this text can be super long. It can be like an entire book as a single text. It can be there, right? As a single text, entire book can be a single variable. So this is how it works. You create a box and then put something inside. In this case, we put number. In this case, we put my name. How can I print whatever value is the first name? What should I do? How to see that it's actually working and Arthur is inside? How can I print that variable?
Console log first name.
That's correct. I will just put first name inside and I will just run it and see, yeah, Arthur is inside, so it works actually. So again, let me see. One more thing I would like to teach you is comment. So comment, when you put 2 slashes, this is ignored by JavaScript. So you can put anything after them, it will be ignored. So usually comments are used by developers to put something that that is not a code, but rather the explanation for other people, right? For example, I created some complex function and I would like to explain its purpose or how it works to other developers that will be reading this code later. So I just put a comment, which is 2 slashes, and then say here what I would like to say that the next section is a data type, data number data type, number data type. So this is the number data type. right? And this will be ignored. I run it, there is number won't be read, data word will be read, and the JavaScript just ignores this line with double slash. So this is string. So the text, oh man, text string. So string is a text in JavaScript. So this is the name for the text in JavaScript, whatever is in single quotes or double quotes. So this is the data type used to store the text. So the next data type is used to store either yes or no. For example, when you apply to something on the website and there is a question, for example, I don't know, are you disabled or not, for example, and you apply either yes or no, right? Yes or no. So your answer will be stored in a Boolean type. So let me put again, Boolean, it's a yes or no, true or false. So this is the next data type. And let's create a variable, let disabled, and it will be either true or false. So it depends on what person answers on that web page. So actually, this is how it works. So you have a bunch of variables in your JavaScript file, and you have fields on the website that user enters the data in, for example, right? And you say, okay, the first name equals to the input from this field. So it's empty by default, but once user enters something, that text will be sent and stored into this variable. And then you can use it later. For example, I have let first name, let last name equal to Semco, right? And I can connect them together. I can say first name plus last name, like this, plus last name. But for the strings, JavaScript doesn't like count, right? Doesn't summarize, because those are not numbers. It will just merge them together like this. See, of course, I can add plus, then I put another string, add a space, and then again, plus. So what will happen? It will take my first name as a text, then it will add plus space, because I added space as a text, space, and then plus last name. So what will be expected here? If I print this?
Space will be between.
Space will be between the words. This is how plus works for the strings. It doesn't count like as a math, as for numbers. It will just merge the text together. So and this is how actually it works in JavaScript. So you have fields, first name, last name, user answers answer the questions, and then in the database you store it as a first name plus last name. They stored separately, but you can merge them, have a full name displayed on the website, because you can take that separately, take that separately, put a space between them, and display the full name. You can get the age of that person and store it as a number, right? And so on. So this is how it works on the background. You have variables, you have fields connected to them, and once you type data and click submit, those variables, your first name, last name, answers, like disabled, you answer disabled no, it will be stored as false. If you answer disabled as true, yes, it will be stored as true. So Boolean has two values only, true and false, only two, false, and so on. So what is the next data type? There are others. I will send you this guy. There are others. There are null data type, but we rarely use it. We use it, for example, in React to not display anything, right? Undefined. What is undefined? Is nothing. It's empty. How to do that? Let me see. For example, I create a variable. Data type. Oh, data type. Undefined data type. I just create a variable let something, and I don't assign any value. This is just empty box with the name something, but there is nothing inside. It's empty box, and if I print it, it will be undefined. So undefined is nothing. It's empty box. This is the undefined. This is the data type that is used for empty box. It's nothing. It's empty space inside that variable, inside that box. So it's undefined. So you just need to know about it, but it's not used, right? So there is a big int type. It was recently introduced to JavaScript. I never used it. It's used for specific math operations, and symbol type as well was introduced recently, but I never used it. So the main data types you will be using is undefined when it's empty, but it will be just in case if it's empty, but your goal will be just to see it. When you see it, you know that undefined, it's empty. Boolean, yes or no. Number for numbers and string for text. That's it. Those will be, let's say, 4 data types that you will be mostly using in JavaScript. Because I personally never used, I used null when I would like to return like nothing in front-end development. I have, okay, if this is true, return this, show this element. If not, just nothing. In that case, I use null and it displays nothing. So I use null just only in case of front-end development, but never used it in automation, for example. Number I used often, string I use often, and Boolean I use often. Symbol never used, big int never used, unfortunately. Those are for specific operations for high-end developers or for some specific things. Okay, so those are the main you need to remember. And they will be listed over here. I will actually share this document with you, so you have a reference for the homework. So these 4 guys, you need to know about them. You need to remember them because we will be using them often, and you will be using them often. Okay, so we know how to declare and initialize a variable. Good, and we know how to print it. Awesome. Good. Let me do one thing in order to understand if you got this. So let me, I would like to create a 3rd variable. Here I have only 2 variables. The variable that will store my first name plus space plus last name. And then I would like to print that 3rd variable because I was doing this here, like plus doing here, but I would like to have a variable for that. Let's call it full name. And then I would like to store the first name there plus space plus last name. Who can help me with that? Let's say, let me scroll down. Anna, Nikita, can you help me with that?
Yes, of course.
What's the type?
First one is let full name. Yep.
Oh, let, yes, let full name. So I type full, then like this.
Equal.
Like this. Did I spell full name correctly?
No.
Name big letter.
Yeah, uppercase. Yeah, we're using camel case again. In order just for people to read your code easily, every next word, because variable name can be long. It can be like 3, 5 words if you really store something specific in that variable. So you can create a variable with that the name contains 5 letters, 5 words, right? So every next word starts with uppercase, so you can easily see that sentence, right? Because it will be easily for you to read. Okay, and how can I put the existing variable inside? I don't want to type manually. I would like to reuse existing variables that contain my data.
First name
First
plus
name
space plus last name.
plus how can I type space? What should I type actually? Like this, space? Like this?
No, with
Quotes?
I don't know how it's in English, like
Quotes.
yeah.
Quotes and then space inside. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am merging a text. That's correct. So first name contains a text. You can imagine it because I have a text inside. So this guy will be a text. In order to merge text in JavaScript, I use plus eventually, the same as for math operations. But for the text, it will automatically merge the text. So I need to merge text with text. So here I just manually say text, but text in which way? in space way, right? I can add another text, but I need a space only. So I do space and then what next?
Last and last name.
Name. That's correct. And how to print this guy to see that I have the correct value in console?
Console.log full name.
Let me see. Yes, it works. Thank you. So those are the variables. Those are the variables. And how the variables work. So actually variables, which is declared by let, can be redefined. So I can say let result, for example, let result equal to a plus b. That means a plus b. I will remove c. A plus b. No, like the a plus b, yes. And then I have this variable. I don't have to create it again, but I say now result equals to b minus a, for example. So, and what happens if I print result? What do you think? If I print result, what should I get?
23.
23. If I put console log in between, so you just see I will get two console logs. It will be 89. So it works. In the first case, I said create variable result, create a box result. Okay, so my computer created result box, empty with result. Then I say add plus a plus b and put inside. So I put 89. So in this case, my result has 89 and I printed it. It has 89. But then I say, okay, result now equal to something else. So I take 89 out of there and say, what is equal to now? I say b minus a. So I take b minus a, it will be, okay, 23. And I put 23 inside. So actually, this is how JavaScript works. And any other language works. So when you have a variable, you can redefine. It's called variable because it can change. Variable, right? So variable can be changed. This is the main difference between variable and constant. So constant is also like a thing that like a variable, but it's declared by word const, result, const. And let's see something. Oh, let me do the following. So if I do instead of len const, and I run assignment to constant variable. So it doesn't work. It tells me that I can do this, attempting to override result, which is a constant. So I cannot do that. So whenever you would like to create something that cannot be overridden, you create a constant. If you plan to override that variable in the future, you need to create a variable. So if you're planning to change, you create a variable. If you're not planning to change that, it should be one time assigned and just used, you create a constant. So this is the main difference between constants and variables. Constants, you assign the value right away. When you create a variable in one line, you just assign the value and that's it. It never changed. But when you're trying to reassign something, you can take something from the box and put inside, you create a variable. And in the next few minutes, I will tell you how that is used usually and why sometimes we need to use variables. Okay, so this is the main difference between variables and constants. Is that clear? Like constants, they cannot be changed, and variables can be changed and redefined. Clear, guys? If you have any questions, let me know.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So let me remove this. Okay, so these are the primitive data types, as you can see here, but there is the object data types, and there are two object data types. So one of the type of the object is array data type. So those are primitive data types, and there are two objects, two main objects. Array, let's say array, I will call it array, is a list of other variables or list of values. So actually array is declared by this sign. This means array. And array is just a list separated by commas. For example, you can store ages there. Or let's say, for example, array fruits. So I will be storing fruits, list of fruits. So tell me the first fruit. Of course, how can I start? So what data type should be used for word apple? Is that a number, Boolean, string, or undefined? Apple. What data type will be used to store
String.
apple?
String.
String, that's correct. So for example, fruits will be strings. So will be array of strings, like a list of strings. Again, there will be strings and separation between them. How we see that this is a list, comma. Comma is a separator. So actually you put apple. Then I have a next one, which is, for example, pear. Then, yeah, help me. What you know as well as a fruit? Banana. Right? What else? Banana spelled correctly like that? I believe there's double N. No, correct. Sure. Banana, and so on.
Bananas, plural.
What?
I said bananas, it's plural. It's meaning many bananas.
Okay. Yeah, and okay, what else? I don't know. Oh,
Great.
person, right, and so on. So this is the list of values. I can store something else. For example, let wheel sizes that, for example, my car supports. It will be wheel sizes will be probably size will be a number, correct? Size will be a number. So I'll be storing them as numbers. So for example, my car supports 19-inch wheels, 20, 21, and 22. So those are the wheels are supported by my car, and I can select them in the configurator on the website when I buy my car, right? So this is how the list of things will be stored in your memory, or in the database, right? So this is the array, just list of things. It's declared by square brackets, right? And inside you have just list of values. It can be any values. It can be a list of Booleans. It can be mix of strings and numbers. It can be anything. Just the only thing that you need to remember that it will be separated by comma and just values, data types. Or even you can, instead of these guys, you can put variables. You can use first name as a first entry, then the last name as the second entry. But at the end, code will go to first name and put Arthur over here, go and find last name and put Senko over here, and so on. So actually, even if you put variables, it will be anyways replaced by values. So the array is a list of values. This is the one object data type, and the second one is object, which is similar to array object. But the difference is first difference. For example, let person, it's stored. So when array is usually used to list something, object is used to store the information about somebody or something. For example, person, it's declared by curly braces, and it has a list of key and values. Also the list, but key and values pair, key value pairs. And usually to easily read it, we put the same thing as in CSS. We put enter over here, and we'll be listing them as a separate line. So for example, first name, F name. So the key is like a variable, you define it. For example, I would like to create an object, and in that object, I will store information about the person. Just the key value pairs. Key will be first name. You can imagine that as a separate variable. First name, and it will be Arthur. And separated by comma. So comma after this guy. And actually, you can see that the last entry doesn't have a comma. Do you have any thoughts why the last one doesn't have a comma after it? Who can tell me? Who just logically thinks?
Because nothing after
Yeah, go ahead.
Because nothing after permission.
Persimmon. Yeah, that's good.
Persimmon, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because a comma is a separator. If you can imagine, it's between these guys. It's like apple separated with pear by comma and so on. So there is nothing to separate with, right? This is the last entry. That's why comma, no comma after the last entry. Same here. You can imagine that comma goes between the key value pairs. So I have first name, I have last name equal to Sanko. And again, if you ask me why I'm using single quotes, because for string, either double quotes or single quotes work. Then and then age, for example, age equal to 33, 33, right, and so on. So this is how actually it works, how the object usually used to store data about the person, or for example, I can create a let car, right, and store data about the car, like length, width, I don't know, clearance, wheel size for that car, that car has, like a store property for that car. And it's very similar to CSS, right, to CSS style. So you create a person as an object, and then you store some data about that person. So usually those are used to store data. If you would like to store data as a number, you create a variable and store a number. If you would like to store a string, you create this variable. And in JavaScript, it's dynamic typing. So in other languages, for example, in Java, it's not dynamic. So whenever you create a variable that you would like to store number in, you have to say variable integer, because I will be storing numbers, even numbers there, and then I store a number. So you have to actually specify what you are storing in that variable before even assigning something. In JavaScript, it's always let, and JavaScript will dynamically pick the data type for you. And if you would like to store create constant, you create const a word and create a constant that cannot be changed. Usually objects are const, but you're not going to rewrite an object. It's always const, and arrays are const, but those variables, primitive variables, are usually lets. You create them as a variables. So this is all about the data types and variables and constants. Questions about this? No questions. Okay. So one more thing I would like to show you is how to get this. So how can I print actually the entire person? Andre, can you help me? How can I print to the console this person?
Say it again, please.
How can I print to the console this person? How can I print? How can I see this person as an object?
Console.log person.
Console.log. Yeah, we need to open parentheses, then person. Yes. So I will see this person inside as an object. It says object, object, and it shows me the object. It changes the order because it will be alphabetically sorted, but doesn't matter. The object doesn't change from that. So one trick that I would like to show you is a person. I can access this guy, but using dot and then the key age, for example. And in this case, if I print, I will get only 33 because the dot means I need to get not a person, but person dot age. So I need to get this key, and I'm printing this key only, which has 33. Okay, how can I print first name of this person?
Person first name.
Person dot first name. That's correct.
That's first name.
Yeah, like this, and I will print Arthur. So this is one trick that you don't have to know it right now for the free course, but anyways, that's good to know. And what happens actually, just to let you know, so usually people who get the free course and then the main course, for them it's easier. It's a very big difference from people who didn't take the free course, because they have to start everything from scratch, the variables, constants, functions, everything, right? And usually people who come to the main course after the free course, they're like, okay, I know how to get the key from the object. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. So that's usually helps anyways, some tricks like this. Okay, so this is all about data types, variables, and constants. So the last thing I would like to show you today is if else, and the homework will be related to it. I won't be giving you anything super complex, probably with a variable. So let's say I have a variable, let age. Do I have age here? No, I don't have age. Equal to 21. So my age is 21. So now what you need to remember, same as here, you remember that let is for creating the variable, that age is just how you name it, equal to put something inside, and on the right side is a value, right? And semicolon to end the line. So this is the syntaxes that you have to use in order for JavaScript to work. If else also has a syntaxes. So if something inside is true, then you have curly braces, and this part will work. So for example, console log and works. And then you have a syntax that says else, and everything between curly braces will work. CL log does not work. So this is how if else works. So if something you mention here is true, this part of code will work. So in this case, it will be console log works. Else, if this is false, then this part of code will work. It says else. So it works very simple. If this is true, do this. Else, otherwise, or you can say otherwise, do this. And what you need to remember is a syntaxes. It always if, then you have round brackets or parentheses, and some statement here. We will replace this by some exact statement that we are going to check. Some check, I would say check here, that we're going to replace by something. If this check works, then it will execute this function, this piece of code between these curly braces. Otherwise, if check doesn't work, it goes to else and execute this between these curly braces. This is the syntaxes, like this. This is the empty if else. So this is if this inside works, check over here, then this part will work between these curly braces. Else, if this doesn't work, will work between these curly braces. That's why I'm putting the console log to see that it works. Or putting console log, you say does not work, like this. So what can be a check? For example, age. I would like to check that age equal to 21. Age, but I have a problem. This sign equal already used by JavaScript. I cannot use just equal because it's already used for assigning, for putting the value inside JavaScript, right? For inside that box, inside that variable. So it's already used. I cannot use it because this means assign something to a variable. So in JavaScript, comparison is another sign. It's equal. Equal means like this. When you compare something, so equal sign in JavaScript is 3 equals. That means if age equal to 21, then sell alcohol. If not, do not sell alcohol. So if my person is 21 and it is 21, then sell alcohol. If not, then do not sell alcohol. Let's say my person is 19 years old. So now what happens? You can imagine. So my age of the person is 19 years old. My checks age. What is stored inside age? Come on, help me. What is inside age
19.
now?
True.
19.
19.
This is what I created box age and put 19 inside. So what is inside is 19. 19 equal to 21.
No.
No.
No, so this is false actually. Doesn't work. 19 doesn't equal to 21. So actually this guy doesn't work. It skips this part and goes to else. And we'll print do not sell alcohol. So the only symbol that is used by JavaScript already is equal. So we have to use this for equal, but other signs like more or less or more and equal or less and equal can be used here, right? So I can say, so in which case we sell alcohol in California, let's say.
21.
21. So it should be more than 21 or more than equal to 21.
More and equal.
More and equal. This is the sign for more than equal to 21. So actually our check is going to be, if age is going to be more than equal to 21, then sell alcohol. Otherwise, do not sell alcohol. And let's test it. Let's put 6. What's going to happen? What's going to be printed?
Do not sell alcohol.
That's correct. Let's try it. Again, how it works. You create a box called age variable. You can manage it as a box. You name it age, and you put 6 inside. Now we go to comparison. So what is inside age? What do we put inside?
6.
6. 6 is more than equal than 21.
No. False.
No.
Less.
So we skip this guy and go to this. But what happens if I say 21? What will be here?
Sell alcohol.
Sell alcohol. But why? So what will be inside age?
21.
21 is more or equal than 21.
Yes.
Equal.
More and equal.
Yeah, more or equal. More or equal.
Equal.
So the answer is yes, more and equal than 21. 21 is more and equal than 21. Yes or no?
No.
The answer is yes. Why? It's equal to 21.
But you said more and equal. Oh, yes. It
Yeah,
is.
I'm like, yeah, because you check both, right? If it will be 23, it will be more, but this guy works because it checks and for more and equal than 21, right? Or more or equal, like more or equal, probably the correct way to answer that. Yeah, so actually it's more than equal. If I put like this, age more than 21, so 21 more than 21.
No.
No, in this case, it won't work. And that's exactly the place where the most bugs happen. When developer just doesn't think about the case and just puts, for example, more. And when you expect that person and that age or that number to work, it doesn't work. So usually all the problems in development, the bugs testers find, they happen on the borders, because those numbers that you use, like 21 year, 22 years, like 19. So this is on the borders. This is where bugs usually happen, because we use numbers, these numbers with limitations on the borders. So if developer puts, for example, more than 21, and the system will not accept people with 21 year old, because this is what developer made a mistake here. And then somebody will report the bug saying that, hey, 21 year is not accepted. So you have to check, and developer, oh, okay, this is what was my mistake, and adds more and equal than 21. So this is how actually most of the code works in software development. A lot of if else's, a lot of data stored in variables, and so on. So your homework will be, I will give you the homework to create a simple website using HTML and CSS. And also, so you will close JavaScript in console, will open HTML, CSS, and output. And I will describe the homework, and it should be done by next Thursday, so you have time. So focus on manual till Monday, and you can focus on coding or in the free time during the weekend, but the due date is next Thursday. So you have a week to complete this homework, and you have a time till Monday to complete QA. So this is how it works, right? So do you have time till next Thursday to create HTML and CSS website? And I describe what I would like to see, and maybe even send you a image with the expected result. And then once you're done with this, you close output in HTML and CSS, open JavaScript in console, and create JavaScript code here. So your homework will be very simple to this. I will tell you to create some variable, then put some number inside, and then create if-else statement to do some check, right? And if that's true, print something. And if it's not true, print something else, right? So the homework will be something like this. And I will share this with you so you can actually have a reference of what we have done during this lesson. And that would be it for today. So your goal is mainly to create HTML, CSS, and in JavaScript, such a simple statement. And if you're able to do that, that means you did great and you learned everything that you had to. Because I know that you may feel, oh, maybe it's so complex or something like that. But if you're able to do the homework, that means that you know everything that you had to know for today. That's it. That will be the homework. Any questions about the homework, the lesson, about anything?
Can you please explain again about Boolean data type to show us how does it work?
Boolean is okay. Boolean. Oh man, no way. Did remove everything? Okay, so I will type everything from scratch. So HTML and CSS, and now it's still there. Okay, it didn't save JavaScript. Okay, so let me JavaScript in console. So Boolean data type. Boolean data type. So for example, you have the answer, the question on the website, which is true or false. Let's say, I don't know, authorized to work in the US. Authorized to work, and either will be true or false, right? So person answers true, let's say, authorized to work. True. Right? And then you have if else. So it's always either true or false. So 2 values only. Then you have if, and you have else. And what you're expecting, all those guys, like A equal to 21. So these comparisons, right? They always return true or false. So actually, if your answer is yes, because remember, true is yes, false is no. So for example, if I am telling you A equal to 21, and if the answer is yes, you can imagine that the system, JavaScript, replaces that by true. If the answer is no, then system replaces that by false. So actually, you can say, okay, if this person is authorized to work, inside this variable will be either true or false. So you will get either true or false inside. So, and then you say, if it will be true, I will print, you can apply for this job. If it's not true, which is false, the answer is no. Then you can say you cannot apply for this job. And let's say if person answers on the website that, yes, I authorized to work in the United States, the system stores true in this variable. Then let's go to if. What is stored inside authorized to work? What is in this box?
True.
True, okay. Any other things? Thoughts? What is stored in this box? Yeah, you go ahead. What do we put? Again, we create a box with name
Age?
authorized to work. No, we create a box and call it box called authorized to work. And then what do we put inside?
True.
True. So what will be inside?
True.
True.
Variable.
It will be true. It will be true inside. Inside that box, inside that variable, you have true. And what happens next? If checks, is this true? What is your answer?
You can apply for
You
this
can
job.
apply.
No. I'm asking you, not going here. System check, JavaScript checks. If this is inside over here, is true or not? Inside those parentheses, is it true or false? Is it yes or no?
Yes.
True.
It's yes, it's true. So it's automatically true because you put Boolean inside. So Boolean is a data type that has only two values, yes or no, true or false. So yes, it's true, false is no. And you automatically put it here if it's true, because if expects two values only, true, it expects true, and then the first part will work, or it expects false. Everything else that you do here, either you say a equal to 21, it will be either true or false. If like this, let a equal to 21, we have 21 here. So you can imagine it's like this, 21 equal to 21.
Yes.
Yes. So actually the system will do and replace this by true at the end. You don't see this, but system will do this because this is the end how the if else works. So if expects either true or false, but this statement, this comparison will replace itself by either true or false. If your answer is yes, then true will appear there. If your answer is no, false will appear there. So, and in case of authorized to work, you already have either true or false right away in this place. So in this case, what will he be here? True or false? In this particular case, in this code, what do we have inside?
True.
Of the, we have true. We have true over here. We put true inside. So inside of this instead of this variable, you will get true like this. You can imagine like it will be like this, true. But we have the variable. And then I run this, you can apply for this job. But once the person answers on the website, no, I'm not authorized to work in the United States, the system will put false inside this variable. And what we will get here?
False.
False.
We'll get false here as well, because this is what's stored in this variable. And what we will get, which string will be printed?
Else statement. You cannot apply for this job.
Cannot apply.
Else will work. So this is actually how if else works. So anyway, anything you have. So this is how Boolean works. Boolean is always either true or false, but you can have not Boolean. So this is how Boolean is used. So it's usually used for storing the data, which is usually yes or no, which is like, are you disabled? Yes or no. Are you authorized to work in the United States? Yes or no. Like for these kind of questions, these kind of answers and the data type used is Boolean. But if you store number, then it will be number type, which is age, for example. Age, as I said, it will be like 18, right? And then for the age check, you say, for example, you will be adding a check to sell alcohol or not. Then you can sell, don't sell, do not sell, right? So you do those kind of checks. Of course, in order to know if to sell the alcohol or not, you do another comparison, which is age more and equal than 21. In case if age more or equal than 21 year, then you sell the alcohol. Otherwise, in every other case, it will be do not sell the alcohol. And eventually, it's less than 21 because more and equal covered. Actually, everything that's less than 21, which is everything till 21, like 20 year and like 0.9999999, all of that will be triggering else. and below. But everything that is more than equal than 21 even, it will be sell the alcohol. So this is actually how it works. 18. Once we have 21 even, we have sell. If you have 20, it will be do not sell alcohol, because it's the first number that is included here. It will be 21 even, right? Then sell starts with 21 even on your birthday. So this is and anyways, this is just asking you a question. Age equal more than equal or equal than 21, and if your answer is yes, the system at the end will anyways replace it by true, because your answer is true, and true will work. True will trigger the first part of the if. If your answer is no, which is false, then the system will trigger else and say do not sell the alcohol. So actually this is how it works in general. And your homework will be something similar to this. I will just describe you some case to create some variable, to put some data and do some check with if else, and that's it. It's pretty straightforward. So this is all that you need to do. Any other questions? Okay, seems like that's it, guys. Thank you for participating. I'm really enjoying your company. Oh man, I don't see my face.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm still here. So we have a lot of people here, so I really enjoyed reading your questions in the document. It was super nice. I was like impressed because I've got so many. I never got so many questions as this time. So thank you for being proactive. That means a lot. That motivates me as well to help you in answering your questions. So yeah, I'm expecting the same participation in this homework as well, and I hope we will get to it together. And again, if you have any questions, because you may have some questions during the homework, please feel free to post them in the chat, like, hey, I'm not getting how to do this, I'm doing this and getting some error message. So you can do a print screen. For the print screen, you can install a tool called Lightshot. You can either install it on the system level or in the browser, Lightshot. And you can just click, take a screenshot, and for example, take a screenshot and say, just give me an example, X. You did something like this. Age, didn't assign value, and then it works, still works. Age equal to like this. Arthur. For example, you forgot to put quotes, and it will tell you, hey, Arthur is not defined, and you don't know what to do. You just screenshot. You can save it or just copy and then send it to the chat saying, hey, Arthur, I'm getting some error message. What I'm doing incorrect. And I will tell you, hey, you forgot to use double quotes for the word because it's a string data type, right? And so on. So do not hesitate to ask any questions in the chat, and see you on Monday.
All right, so all the homework is, we post all the homework in the chat, correct? In the main chat?
Yes, so yeah, just to give you an example. So for the homework, where's my Slack over here? So in this chat, we have a homework. It's pinned to the chat, so you can see pinned. It's the homework. So here you have the thread. So actually your test cases, you just reply to this thread with the link to your test cases. This is for the QA homework. For the JavaScript homework, it will be the same. It will be the second homework, separate homework for JavaScript, and you just reply to this thread. You click this, reply to thread, and you reply to the message over here, like with the link to your JS bin. So for JS bin, you work in your JS bin, then you do file, save a snapshot, and then you copy this guy for me. Let me see if oh man. Hey, I lost my focus in, let me try to do this again. Maybe I will lose my, oh no, I didn't, oh yeah, it's saved, right? You see that it's, so again, save a snapshot. Okay, I can copy, now I can paste it. So we'll paste this, and I will see your homework. I will turn off the JavaScript, will open HTML and CSS and output, take a look at your website, Then I will close this, open JavaScript and console. We'll see your homework, we'll run it and see if it works, right? This is obviously how you need to do. You just need JSBean. Then at the end, when you complete the homework, save a snapshot and copy
Can
the.
you share screen, please? Sorry.
Huh?
Can you share screen, please?
Oh yeah, I'm not showing my screen. Oh man, that's so bad.
Excuse me, Arthur, but you said our test cases we need to do by Tuesday, yeah?
By Monday, but the next lesson will be on Monday for the QA.
Okay.
It should, yeah, it should be on Monday this week as well. But the on Monday was Valentine's Day, so we wanted to give you like a day to spend with your families, with your beloved ones. So that's why we moved to Tuesday, because the reason why we do Monday and Thursday to give you more time between those days, you know, so you can work on the homework, because Tuesday and Thursday is too close, so you have only one day between. So that's why usually it's Monday and Thursday.
Okay.
That's why till Monday, QA is till Monday. And again, I was not sharing the screen. You open the chat, there are pinned messages. One of them, the top one right now, is the QA. So you open it and you reply in the thread. It will appear over here in the thread with your link to your test cases. With this homework, it will be the same. So it will be separate message with the homework for coding basics, but you will work in JSBean. You will done your job, your homework, and you do file, save snapshot. It will generate you a unique link over here. You copy it, and then you go to that message in Slack, but for the coding basics, and copy it in here as well. This is how you share the homework with me. So the homework is in the replies to this message with the homework. So here will be test cases for manual QA. Once I post the homework for JavaScript, you will post in replies the homework for JavaScript as well. This is how it will be done. Got it?
Okay. Okay. And the test cases is just this happened. Let's say, for example, it's feedback basically about the doc, right? The Google Doc is just the feedback. It's how should I put this? It's basically.
So you
said change the font, and then you put in one of the lines the font was changed.
Yeah, but it's no. So the test cases, your homework is test cases.
Mm-hmm.
For this was the first part. You asking questions, and now I answer all the questions. The document is final, 50 pixels. So now you can start writing test cases because you know exact value, correct value for the pixels, right? So now you write test case. Hey, text area font size is 50 pixels. So only now you can create a test case to be sure what the exact value. Then text area color is RGB, blah, blah, blah. You copy this. This is the expected result. This is your test case. And you need to cover the requirements by test cases, and you send them in the link to me.
Okay, and in that Google Sheets or Google, we put all the test cases, yes?
Here, you open this template. This is
yes,
the template.
yes, in the template. We put everything in here, correct?
You make a copy.
Yes.
You make a copy. And then you will have your own link. Once you have it, you will go here because you will have your own document. It's unique. Nobody has it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was just asking if we put everything in here and then the copy of this, and then we submit it. So we submit this thing.
Yeah. So you copy. Okay. You will have your own copy, and you will continue on your copy. Then you're done, and then you share it with me. You get a link. So you share it. You get anyone with the link can comment. And you copy the link. So this link that you copy, actually, that's what you put in the chat. So here, then you go here, and actually you can see, right? The template, copy the template, right? It has instruction. Then continue writing test cases, then share your final version in here. So you just paste your link to the test cases here. And I will do the chat.
Yep, I understand. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
But about questions, you can see our questions, yeah?
These guys? In the document, in the requirements?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see your questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually answered all of them. Get inline button. Updated. You can actually, yeah, so actually all of them are answered. You just go here, for example, Roman can go here and see font size cannot be 0 pixels, but I updated it to 50 pixels. So he can actually just comment, mark as resolved. He got an answer, right? And other people as well. So that's how it works. So you get an answer, you just mark it as a result, and that's it. So this document is pretty much done. There should be no questions with it, because I updated everything. You can just simply go, and if you're satisfied with the answer, just mark it as a result, and we should have it empty. That's the goal. And
Excuse me.
the goal was, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting. After you, because I want to ask about. I can't see my comments. It was on the top yesterday, and I can't see it was first. Maybe
Scroll
it
down
was...
because it was mixed. There were many.
Okay. I see it. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, just you can take a look because there were many of them. Yeah, and they all should have answers because I was answering everything that was there. Okay, yeah, so actually the document is pretty final right now, and you can easily work on the test cases. Right now you have everything for the test case. And again, remember, this is the free course, so you don't have to be super precise. We are not trying to be like trying to find every pixel right now difference and so on. So this is just for you to understand how it works and if you can do that, right? So you already did a great job for the document overview. So the one thing remaining is the test cases and then coding as well. So for the coding, I will post the homework right now after this lesson. And that's it. Any other questions? Stop sharing. Any other questions, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, no questions. Thank you for participating and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you.
You.